Okay, so today for writing, I'm going to model a 5-paragraph paper for you, and the title is going to be No Talking Times. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to think about your topic and think about 3 big ideas. So what I suggest is on a piece of scrap paper or maybe even on the back side jotting down those 3 big ideas. So what you would be thinking about is times when you shouldn't be talking in class. So I'm going to flip it over. These are big ideas that I came up with as the writer, and we need 3 of them because you have middle, middle, middle in the 5-paragraph format. So one of them I came up with is when the teacher is talking. That's a no talking time. The second one, during quiet work times. That would be a no talking time because it's supposed to be quiet, obviously. And then the third one, when others talk. When others are talking, you should not be talking. So those are the 3 big ideas I came up with. Each one of them will be their own middle paragraph. Okay? So now we go back to the actual writing piece. Now your first paragraph is not a big idea. It's simply introducing what it is that you're going to be talking about. So let's take a look at my introductory paragraph. Okay? Now notice that I indent. Say, here's the pink line, so you dent it in a little bit. Notice the other line is not indented. You only indent the first line of each paragraph. Okay, so let's go ahead and read through this and see if it is in fact introducing the topic. Today I will be writing about no talking times. Please listen and learn. Now, introductory paragraphs, I like them to be short and to the point. Okay, notice there's only 2 sentences. Here's one end mark, here's another one. So it's short and to the point. The main purpose is simply to introduce what you're going to talk about. So that's our first paragraph, the beginning. Now we come to our first big idea. Okay, notice how it's indented at the beginning. Notice how the rest of them stay right next to the pink line because you only indent the first line of a paragraph. So let's go ahead and see if you can figure out what this big idea is about here. First, you should absolutely never talk when the teacher is teaching. You are here to learn. If you talk at this time, you won't be listening. Therefore, you won't learn. Okay, so think about what you thought the big idea was. And if you're saying never talk when the teacher is teaching, that's it. That's the big idea. Okay, now if you forget your big ideas, you go back and look at them, and then you just write about that thing the whole paragraph. This whole paragraph is about not talking while the teacher is teaching. So that's how you do a middle paragraph. Let's see how many sentences there are. 1 end mark, 2 end marks, 3 end marks, 4. I'd like you to have at least 3 sentences. At least 3 for each of your middle paragraphs. So here we have 2 sentences, 4 sentences. Let's go to the next paragraph and see what this big idea is about. Next, if it is declared a quiet work time, you should not talk at all. If it's quiet work time, there must be a reason for that. For example, maybe the teacher needs to read one-on-one with a student. That classmate deserves peace and quiet. Okay? So what do you think this big idea is? If you said you shouldn't be talking during quiet work times, that's it. If your teacher says quiet, then they're saying that for a reason. Quiet means no talking. Okay? Usually the reason is they want to work with somebody one-on-one. Sometimes it could simply be something like deer time, where you need peace and quiet to read something and then understand what you're reading without distractions. So there are several reasons for quiet work time, and you need to make sure you follow those. So let's see how many sentences we had in that paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 sentences. All you gotta do is count the end marks, right? As long as you're writing in complete sentences. Okay? Now let's go through the next middle paragraph. It should be based on a big idea. So let's look at this. Lastly, do not talk when other students are talking. This is called interrupting the speaker. It is rude and just plain selfish. Okay, so think about what that big idea was. If you said, don't talk when other students are talking, that would be correct. Okay, let's see how many sentences we have. Remember, I want you to have at least 3 in your middle, each of your middle paragraphs. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's just enough for me to consider it a good paragraph. Now, this one is not a big idea. This is what you call your conclusion or your end. Okay, now the end brings it to a close without actually saying the end. We don't do that anymore. We have creative ways. And I want you to think about what kind of ending this is. We've talked about that a few times already. So here we go. Following these guidelines will make you a better student in person. Tune in next time as I write about being more efficient. Okay? So this brings it to a close, and it's one of the special closings. Okay? This one we call an unfinished ending. It's tune in next time, to be continued. It's a very easy kind to write, so therefore lots of third graders choose this method because, it's not that complicated, but it sounds good, and it makes them look like they really understand how to close a story. All right, let's look at how many sentences there are. 1, 2. And that's all you really need to have for a closing. So your short paragraphs, your opening, just 2 sentences is good. Your closing, just 2 sentences is usually good. Okay, your 3 middles from your big ideas, at least 3 sentences you want, at least 3 sentences, at least 3 sentences. And notice you only indent the first line of each paragraph. So first line, it's indented. First line of the second paragraph, it's indented. First line of the third paragraph, it's indented. First line of the fourth paragraph, it's indented. First line of your ending, it's indented. And the rest of the lines go all the way out to the pink line. They shouldn't be straying in, because then it doesn't look organized. And one thing about writing is you want it to be very organized. And that is the end of this writing lesson.